Today's episode is brought to you by the book Everyone is a Sinner But Me, available now at Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com. Pre-recorded from Volpes Studios, it's the MCS1 show, featuring Caleb, Hannah, and now your host, MCS1.
Welcome everyone! Welcome to another special edition of the MCS1 show. I'm MCS1, and with me once again, my usual co-host, Caleb Hennon. Yo.
What up, Mark?
Yo, Caleb. Oh, you know what's up? Wizarding Dayz!
Dude.
We just got back from Wizarding Dayz. And Dayz is spelled with a Z.
With a Z.
With a Z.
Because they want to make sure that you understand how cool they are.
Yeah, exactly. I love the thing where you say something that like should end with a S and then you say, but with a Z.
Yeah, it's like when people take those things that should be spelled with a C and they
put
use
a
a K instead.
Yeah, the band Korn is not looking too happy on us right now.
No, not at all.
Funny
Not
thing
at
about
all.
the with a Z joke or thing that happens. Back when I used to work in apartment housing and I was gonna take a late notice to someone for not paying their rent on time, I was with my assistant manager and I was like filling out some type of form or whatever, and I go, maybe you should pay your bills with a Z. And he thought it was like the funniest thing ever. He was just laughing like so hard at that. So it's been kind of like a little joke between us all the time. Bills with a Z.
Bills with a Z.
Z. So Wizarding Dayz, we just got back from this. It was in Sandy, Utah, around the Salt Lake City area.
Yep.
Southtown Expo was fun. We had a good time. Caleb, was this like your first? It's your first convention with the MCS1 show,
Right.
Because we've never been
just never
able to make
lined up.
we've never been able to make our schedules line up. You were almost able to go to FearCon.
Yeah, that
and
was
then last
really
minute
close.
you're like, oh, I can't. And then I took Cameron. I still haven't done my FearCon show. Thanks, Cameron. Which I'm hoping
Take that.
I know. And oddly enough, this was done by the same people that ran FearCon
Yeah.
as well.
They did a great job.
And they did a great
honestly.
job.
It was really fun.
But was this like your first like sci-fi-esque convention or medieval or just whatever? I should say that a convention that wasn't business related might be the best way of putting this.
Yeah, well, it was the first one that I stayed at. I had a brief. I ran briefly into a Comic-Con one time.
Briefly,
But
please explain.
Let me give you the play-by-play as to why. I literally walked in, and then I realized that I had a paper due that night.
Ouch.
Yep.
What Comic-Con was it? Was this like the first one in Salt Lake?
Yeah,
or-
there's the very first one in Salt Lake.
Oh, okay.
Which was I think, 2011, wasn't it?
I can't remember.
Anyway, it's been a while, but
Yeah.
I walked in and I saw the first booth and I was like, cool. And then I was like, what day is today? And then I was like, oh crap.
Oh boy.
And it was bad. It was bad. It was a very bad day.
So sad.
So
But
then I had to drive home
to go do a paper.
to go write a 12-page paper that, by the way, I had not started.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it was just
Ouch.
honestly, it was my own mistake. It was really stupid, but
Well, I'm glad you were able to go to this.
yeah, me too.
Because this is way fun. It was I want to say like a small venue. It was a smaller
Yeah, it
venue.
wasn't as big.
It was probably about the size of FearCon. I think FearCon might have been a little bit bigger actually.
Yeah, I mean, but neither one of them really compared to the Golf Expo.
No, oddly enough, this is so crazy. When we were walking in, we're like, hey, we're here for press pickup. And like, oh, what expo are you with? We're like, Wizarding Dayz with a Z. And I actually didn't say that with a Z part. I really wish I would have
You
looked
should
back.
have. You should have.
I know. And they're like, oh, well, we're for the Golf Expo.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Who?
I'm
The
thinking
Golf Expo.
the Golf Expo. And I was thinking, man, if I had to pay to get into that, I wouldn't go. But
Yeah.
I kind of was curious, but not curious enough to pay
No, heck no.
to
heck no.
go in there. And as we were leaving Wizarding Dayz, Caleb goes, who goes to the Golf Expo or whatever?
Yeah.
And I was
I
thinking,
just don't understand.
yeah. And I said to him, like, well, the people who wake up and are like, yes, today's the day. The
Today's
Golf
the
Expo
day."
is here.
Seriously. But I just don't understand. Like, I don't know, man. Maybe it's just a different market. It's probably just obviously
It's totally
a very
different market.
but,
Yeah.
But I mean, if I was sitting there waiting for the Golf Expo, like, what would you? What can you really do at a golf? Here's some clubs. here are some tees,
Yeah.
and here are some shoes, and here are some goofy pants that make you look ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's really all you can really show at the golf expo.
Basically a vendor type thing, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I would assume. I can't imagine that the Southtown Expo Center in Sandy, Utah gets a lot of celebrities out there
Yeah,
for their
exactly.
events, you know.
Yeah, and they had like another event going on there too. It was like a safety kids event.
Yeah, what was that
I
about?
don't know. We didn't check it out, but random.
Yeah.
So I mean, there was quite a few events going on at the Expo Center, and we went to Wizarding Dayz with a Z, and
Wizarding for days.
Wizarding for Days, and it was pretty cool. Like, right when we walked in, there was things to set up and take pictures, which was nice.
Yep.
Like Harry Potter, what is it? Platform
9 3/4.
Nine and 3/4. I'm to be honest, I've only seen the first Harry Potter and I barely remember it.
Yeah.
And I've only really read the first book and I didn't really read it. My
Do
mom
you
kind of
barely
read it
remember
to me.
Oh, geez. Okay.
So even
less involved.
less involved. Yeah, I mean she loves it. She loves Harry Potter, but I'm just like, yeah, Harry Potter, a world I just couldn't get into, but I have nothing against.
Yeah. I mean, I read all the books. I liked them, it was a definitely an interesting take on the wizarding world. Not unheard of, to be fair. But yeah, a pretty interesting take on it. I thought that the books definitely progressed differently than I thought they would, though.
Ah,
I will say that. But yeah, that was really cool right at the start. Get the Harry Potter thing in there. Get the little poster with the fake people that look like they're from the movie because you couldn't get the real ones.
the cardboard cutout.
Because we're in Sandy, Utah.
Yeah, and to be honest, like a lot of those, except for Comic Con around here, don't really
Right,
get
right.
celebrities. And to be honest, like the one thing I liked, moving back to FearCon, the reason I liked FearCon so much was because it didn't have celebrities,
Right.
and it didn't
Right.
have like a ton of like artists there, and tons of vendors. It was very raw and stripped down
Right.
version of Comic-Con, very fear related, which is why I liked it. And that's kind of why I liked Wizarding Dayz too.
Yeah.
It's because it didn't really have celebrities. It didn't have it had a couple panels outside. Caleb and I didn't attend the panels.
Right.
But I liked that though, because it didn't have that too much stuff. Like you didn't
Right.
feel overwhelmed
No,
when you walked in. As opposed to
definitely
Comic
not.
Con, there's so much going on. There's panels, there's artists, there's vendors, there's just random stuff to get your picture taken with. There's celebrities, all
Right.
that stuff, and then for some reason there's a Comcast booth.
Yeah, I
there.
never understand how they get into all these things.
Yeah,
and-
just trying to get people signed up,
Yeah.
and that's the
Oh,
place.
you're going to Comic-Con? Well, why not the Comcast Con?
I know, seriously. So,
Okay, Comcast, get out.
but going back to expos and things like that and cons, this is Caleb's first like con type thing.
real time being there. Yeah.
And so one of the things he did, like the first thing that he did when he went there, and he's like walking around, he's like, "Oh man, this is so cool." And
Oh, yeah.
Caleb was just enjoying it. And he goes to like a booth in the back. What we do when we go to these things is we circle all the way around, like we just do a quick run through of everything, and then we go back for specific things that we thought were cool.
Right.
And that's what I've done at like every con I've went to, and it's so awesome. And Caleb, one of the first things that he does is he goes to this booth in the back, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, this sword!" And what was it?
Dude, super cool swords. from
We
Lord
got
of the
pictures
Rings,
of
man.
we got pictures of this and a bunch of other things on our website at the
Yeah.
MCS1show.com. But Caleb, what was this sword that you were so infatuated with?
Dude, well, there were a few of them. Okay, first of all, there were a few of them.
Oh my!
But no, Sting from Lord of the Rings, the sword that the little hobbits use.
Oh, okay,
It's more of a dagger, really, but hobbits are tiny, so
so it's a sword to them.
yeah, it's a sword to them.
because they're tiny people.
And then Arwen's saber was there, which was super cool. That was that kind of longer one with the curved edge.
Okay,
That one was super cool. And then I didn't really pick any of these ones up, but they had, Gandalf the White Sword. They had Aragorn's first broadsword. They had Eomer's sword from the Rohirrim there, which is also pretty cool. So cool sword. I'm kind of a sword guy. I don't, not like in the way where I know a lot of stuff about them.
Caleb has his own like
I just
blacksmith like forge in his backyard. He
No,
watches Man of Arms every
definitely,
night.
definitely not. But no, I like swords. I think swords are pretty cool. One of the reasons I like Deadpool so much is because he
He
uses
uses
swords.
swords.
Yeah, so just kind of something I've always liked. But those were cool. Those were really cool. And I mean, honestly, they were pretty cheap for what they were. Like, I mean, they're full, stainless steel, big broadswords and stuff for like
What,
a
what,
hundred bucks. I
yeah,
was like,
welcome
dang,
to the con world, man. Like
dang,
the
man, those were cool though.
convention world. They have all sorts of stuff like that for pretty decent, like fair prices.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, Caleb was like loving that. We saw like some animals there, which was kind of cute or whatever, like little
Yeah,
turtles and stuff like that, and like a little bit of like a family friendly type thing.
right.
One of the other things that we noticed, like right when we walked in, though, like right off the bat, in the middle of it, there's just like a ton of books being sold for sale,
Yeah, that was
like
super
a
cool.
ridiculous
Well, and
amount, and it was like several tables shoved together of books,
yeah,
and it wasn't just like a a vendor booth corner. It was like tons of tables, like making like a horseshoe of books, and then an island in the middle of them of like
right,
all
right.
fantasy books.
And like the cool thing too is it was like basically it was a give a book get a book kind of a thing.
Yeah,
So that was pretty cool. That was a cool setup.
and there
And it's a good way to get exposed to different types of literature and stuff. So
and then the other cool thing about it is there was quite a few people in there.
oh yeah,
It wasn't
absolutely,
empty. Like
absolutely,
there was quite a few people getting in there. And
definitely.
I thought that was awesome. And we ventured further in though, getting deeper into Wizarding Days. A couple things started changing. It was getting a lot more comic book sci-fi themed,
Right,
a
right.
little bit more,
There was
which
even like a
happens.
Star Wars portion, which was kind of
Yeah,
interesting.
they had I can't remember what they're called. It's like the rebel version of the 501st Legion
Yeah, 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 yeah.
there, and they were promoting some of their stuff. And this is what happens at cons and conventions usually is they'll have things from different universes in there, kind of trying to network in
Right,
because it appeals to a lot of the same crowds. Like how Comic-Con has everything
right.
in it, not just comic books. It's like expanding into like movies, games, things like that.
Yeah, right. Well, and that was really interesting. And the other interesting thing just about that is that it was kind of like and the cool thing about a lot of these cons too is that it really does bring a lot of different what are they called? Hobbies together.
Yeah, exactly. Another one that we saw was coming up, and this was the Utah Halloween Expo and Show.
Yeah.
That we saw there had like this little graveyard, and Caleb took some pictures next to it. It's like UtahHalloweenExpo.com. And I'm interested to see what that's going to be about.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I'm wondering if that's gonna be another FearCon S type thing. And this is probably something that like I would love to cover in the future as
Definitely.
well
Definitely.
and go to. And so you're right, Caleb. It just grabs like tons of different talents and also, as I said, universes together.
Definitely.
And that was definitely what was going on here, which is totally cool.
Well, I mean, down to they had a little big old pirate ship, right?
Yeah,
And stuff like
so
that. So kind
we
of cool.
we yeah, as we ventured on, we saw like this like not giant, pretty good sized pirate
Right,
ship.
right.
I was just thinking as I was looking, I'm like, man, this must have been pretty crazy to haul this in here. I think
Yeah.
I actually saw the same pirate ship at FearCon.
Maybe they just don't move it.
They just, well, FearCon was at the Salt Palace.
Teleportation device?
Sure, I mean that makes sense. So I saw that, and the pirate ship was really cool. It seemed to fit better though this time around. At FearCon, it was like, oh, this is interesting,
Right.
but they didn't do anything like haunted, like pirate ship or ghost
Yeah, yeah,
ship,
yeah, yeah.
which would have been awesome. FearCon, if you're listening, haunted pirate ship.
Haunted pirate ship.
That would be amazing.
That would be pretty cool.
That would be way epic. And so it's cool. It's so cool because all these little kids are like playing on the pirate ship.
Yeah, just having a good old time,
Good old time. Away from the pirate ship a little bit, we saw a lot of vendors,
Mhm.
and there's just also places to get your pictures taken
Yeah, yeah.
as well, which was really cool. Like there was some 3 women dressed up as the girls from Hocus Pocus, the
Right.
witches from there.
Right.
That was really cute. There was a bunch of people. Everyone was dressed up like Harry Potter-esque stuff.
Well, I mean, it's Wizarding Days.
Wizarding
you
Days. So
gotta-
I feel weird because I feel a little strange because my Christmas card this year was a Harry Potter themed.
Okay.
Did I show you this, Caleb, or did you see
I
this
don't
on
think
Facebook?
so. I don't think
So
so.
it's really interesting. I'll put a picture of it on the website. It's showed the picture of my brothers, me, and their wives, and our pets. My brother took his beagle and he dressed her up like Dobby. Like we wrapped a potato
Oh,
sack
that's
around her,
awesome.
and she's a little beagle already. Looks like Dobby, and so like that just worked perfectly already. And another thing was we had the other dog there, and I photoshopped two other heads onto him, and so and they all had wands and ties and stuff like that.
That's super cool.
And then I photoshopped myself into it later as well because I was the one taking the original
Right,
picture.
right, right.
And then we put it in like that hall where they have like the Harry Potter meals and stuff like
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And then I put a picture of my mom wearing the sorting hat
yeah.
and my dad walking in the background as Snape and all this other stuff
Nice.
in the Harry Potter font. It was a Merry Christmas. And so like I have some Harry Potter stuff, even though I've never really gotten into the books and the movies. It's like, man, maybe I should have wore some of that. Because I have
Oh
I
yeah.
have a Gryffindor themed tie as well.
Well, nice.
But I'm not like if I had to go with anything, I'd probably a Slytherin,
Yeah, dude.
to be honest.
I think I'd probably be. I haven't taken any of these quizzes, but I'd probably be a Ravenclaw.
Really?
Yeah,
I don't know too much about.
because they're smart, sarcastic, pretentious douchebags.
Oh, maybe I should be a Raven. Nah, I'm probably Slytherin.
Well, Slytherins are like smart and cunning, and like a little bit like devious.
Hmm. Yeah. So it was cool because everyone was dressed up like Harry Potter esque, and they were all like getting pictures taken together, like their Harry Potter crew, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And the other thing I did like about this is the vendors were really friendly.
Oh, absolutely.
And like that can make or break a con. Like really, like if you have like vendors that are not like really friendly but are just like pushy, it's really not fun. But if they're just friendly and nice, I'm more inclined to buy from those guys.
Absolutely.
And one of them I did.
Yeah.
I already had something like ready to go to buy, but I was like glad after I talked to her because like, oh, she was friendly. I'm glad that I was able
Yeah,
to
she
support
even
her.
like took a picture with us.
Yeah, exactly. She was way cool. So the vendors were great. There wasn't too many cosplayers, I should say. There was a
Yeah,
couple.
not too many. I mean, there was a Batman and a Wonder Woman for some reason.
For some
and-
reason, there was an epic Dumbledore going around.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I tried
yeah.
to snap a couple pictures of him because, like, every time he walked past us, he looked like he was in a hurry.
Yeah.
And so I didn't even want to ask this guy for a picture because I'm like, this man is a man on a mission.
Yeah, he's got one thing and one thing only on his brain.
Probably nachos.
And why not?
Yeah, why not?
I mean, nachos, man. Who doesn't love nachos?
I love nachos. Another funny thing though, backtracking to vendors before we forget, we saw this belt from Batgirl
Oh yeah.
on there, and Caleb had like a really funny comment.
Yeah, so there was on the belt there's like these like stitches going through like Batgirl's face and all this stuff. Like you know where the folds come in to the link, right? And I was just sitting there just looking at this and I was like, wow, too soon, belt company.
Yeah, seriously.
Because like
The
because
Killing
Batgirl
Joke just came out
Yeah.
like what
Yeah.
7 months ago.
I mean, come on, guys. I mean, because Batgirl, I mean, she gets horribly disfigured, and part of her, like after because she gets like super paralyzed because like she gets beat, like she gets the crap beat out of her by the Joker or whatever, and like so she gets like super paralyzed and also like cut up in the face, and there's all these like
Aw.
things of them, like there's like all these like stitchings of them like trying to put her face back together, and that's exactly the lines on the belt where they do the stitching almost exactly lines up with where the lines in the comics line up with her face, and I was just like, too soon, belt company, not cool, man.
Yeah, a little. And you always find the most interesting stuff at these cons.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Caleb
Totally.
found some Deadpool stuff, and we got a
Yep.
picture of him next to
Yep.
his super hero villain neutral mercenary idol.
Antihero.
Antihero idol.
Mark.
I'm sorry.
Antihero. Come on.
So one thing I loved about FearCon was they had like a main stage display where they had fire dancers.
Right.
They had like the Miss FearCon 2016. The main stage always had something going on, which was way cool. Here they had a main stage. It was entertaining, but it wasn't as epic. It was geared more toward children,
Right.
which Wizarding Dayz is kind of more of a child thing, more of a family-friendly-esque
Right.
type thing, like overall looking at it. In fact, one of my initial fears going into it was I was kind of afraid it was going to be like all kid oriented.
Right.
And it wouldn't be anything very, very adult oriented or something that would appeal to an adult like myself. There was, thankfully, and I'm happy
Right.
about that. But that was one of my initial fears going in. But they had a main stage and they had like some guys dueling on there. They were called Masters of Dueling.
Yeah.
And they were
They were pretty good.
They were pretty good. They were pretty entertaining. One of the funnier things that we saw them do was they called Robin Hood a level 12 archer
Yeah.
or something like
And,
that.
and then like Little John was like a level 6 barbarian or something like that. And
Yeah, very D&D esque.
yeah, super D&D esque.
I think I enjoyed watching them duel, but I enjoyed even more with watching Caleb watch them duel because he was like, "Man, someone needs to stab somebody."
Was I wrong? Was I wrong?
And then when they took away the swords, they started using bow staves. He's like, I don't know if I want to watch this now. They got the blunt weapons. No one's gonna get
no one's
hurt."
gonna get stabbed. It's just you're gonna get a bruise.
Oh,
Come
boy.
on, at least bring a spear out.
Yeah, it was entertaining. I enjoyed it.
Good stuff.
For the most part, Wizarding Dayz was pretty cool. I think this is the first one they've done
Of the Wizarding Dayz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed going. Thanks for having me, Wizarding Dayz with a Z.
Wizarding for days.
Wizarding for Days. But we had a good time, and I would definitely go again and recommend it.
Yeah.
For other people.
I mean, if you're thinking about it, seriously, go. They got a lot of really cool stuff. I mean, we didn't even touch on everything that they had.
We really didn't.
It was really cool to see all of these different people doing all these different things. I mean, they even had a station where you could like make your own wand, where you could make your own pearl necklaces and stuff like that. It's really cool.
They had like spell making stuff going on.
Yeah.
That was one of the panels that they were doing that we didn't go to.
Right.
But that was going on there.
Cool. Yeah.
And it was really cool, and we had a good time. I had a blast.
Definitely. Highly suggest it.
Yeah. One thing before we close, this was way funny though. There was like, speaking of making things, there was like not like balloon animals, but it was something with balloons. We couldn't quite figure out what it was.
Yeah, like a balloon blob or something like that.
Yeah, and there was this
huge,
giant balloon like blob, like Caleb said, with tons of balloons attached to other balloons and stuff like that. And all these little kids were like bouncing it around. I saw parents run in and be like, "No, don't touch that," and pull like all their kids out from underneath it. And it reminded me of like the beach ball at the Nickelback concert. Like that's what it was to me. And I was like, yes.
Oh man, Nickelback.
Oh, I love you, Nickelback. Anyway, that's our show. I want to thank Caleb for coming on.
Of course.
And until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Peace.
Thank you for listening to the MCS1 show. For bi-weekly episodes on society and counterculture, subscribe on iTunes, Google Play or Stitcher. For regular updates, show notes and links, head to the MCS1show.com or search AOL keyword MCS1.